Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. All right. This is great. Bitcoin keeps on rising. We keep on hitting our targets. Yesterday we set 121,000 against all odds, and sure enough, we just hit that. We topped out at $121,072. Really good stuff. Currently kind of coming down at to 120,170. I grayed out some of the zones that we're looking for our next targets, and it seems to be that the next one would indeed be our all-time high level, which we're looking at 124,000 between 100 and 500. The actual all-time high is the 124,579. We're not that far off. We're pretty close to hitting that. So that's something to pay attention to. What else do we got? I'm still heading up in terms of the gains, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be taking profits here. I don't think I will. I still think we're... Sometimes I feel like, what if it drops again? I don't want to see these numbers go back down. But then it's like, okay, but what if it keeps on rising? We are in October. We are expecting this to continue rising even up until November. There's got to be some retracement at some point as well, is another thing that's going through my mind. We are very, very overbought at these prices. So it's like, I don't even know. It's a good problem to have. Where do you take your profits, right? If I was trading normally, yeah. On a normal swing trade, according to what I do with my strategy, now's the time to be taking profits. One could argue I could have taken profits even over here at 114,000. Because I was in profit by then. But me just being greedy, fundamentals playing in our hand, it just continued rising. We are very overpurchased right now, and you can still take even better profits at this point. But the issue is, where does it stop? I don't see it stopping. Maybe until the weekend. Weekend because we expect a couple of things to happen here. Maybe a resolution to the government shutdown. Maybe the resolution to Israel-Hamas war. And since tomorrow we're not going to get the volatility of non-farm payroll data or jobless claims, we could just basically assume what those numbers are based off of the ADP data that we got earlier this week, which is obviously not good for the labor market, which would be good for us because it promotes the chances, the odds of us seeing more rate cuts. So that's good, and that would basically mean that tomorrow, in theory, should be a continuation of what we just saw today, in theory. But, like I said, the technicals are screaming overbought right now, so I'm kind of stuck. I could take profits, it wouldn't really hurt, but I'm going to stick with the plan. I've set a lot of targets already at areas where I think prices can head to, with the exception of some were just thrown in here for placeholder. But there's, still a good chance that this is not over. This will all continue. We just don't know. It's hard. It's hard to figure out where the top is. Bitcoin needs to make an all-time high. That is a given, right? We're seeing so much good news, so much buying. It just has to continue. Ethereum, a lot of ETF inflows are starting up again. Everybody's talking about it again. That's good. Solana, the meme coins are hot. I downloaded pump.fun a couple days ago and went into a meme coin. Very little money, $40. I 3x'd that amount in, no, 4x'd that amount in 2 days. And that $40 went up to $160. I cashed out. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I want to touch this. This is gambling. I didn't make my own meme coin or none of that. I invested in a meme coin. Invested, quote unquote. I gambled on a meme coin. And it just feels illegal. But yeah, that's things that you could do. So Solana, it's getting hot again. It's rising, already up 5% today. 232 is the current price of it. No signs of slowdown. A little bit of a, also overbought at these areas, you could argue, but technically speaking, we could even continue rising up to 240. So I don't think none of this is over. And of course, alt season is at hand soon. Lots of ETFs getting approved soon, this month, maybe even next month. It's no surprise that the SEC has waited this long and delayed everything because they wanted like the perfect timing. They kind of knew this whole, I guess, the whole October, Moonvember kind of season. We're expecting things to rise significantly. If you ask me about December, I would say I'm not too sure, honestly, about December. I'd even argue it's probably been a little too much of a rise. Some people also could argue that we have been waiting on the cycle for too long. Others would argue that no, we're still really early in the cycle and it will extend all the way into Q1 2026, which, you know, by then I would have already taken my profits if I'm being honest. Yeah, so a lot of questions. Nobody knows the future. All we can do is really base it off of our analysis, and everything is looking good right now. But I'm fearful when others are greedy. So it's an odd situation to be in. It's a good one though. Everything is on the rise. Not everything is in the green, however, for me. Sonic has already turned red after being slightly green last time I streamed. It seems like it's down so much, but that's not really the case. It's down just a little bit. From 28 to 27, that's not a big deal. It just seems like $400, that's a huge difference, but that's because I got like so much money invested in there. Where are you? 5,362. So any tiny movement is a big one. And I've adjusted my target for it to 49.15. I was checking some other price targets for it due to its like inflationary nature that it currently has. We shouldn't really expect it to rise that much. $1 Sonic, it's probably not going to be possible. Maybe 45, maybe 30. Sorry, not 30. 40 to 45, I'd say, is a valid target. So I might reduce this a little lower. When I do see our next pivot levels, resistance 5, climb up to above the 40s zones, that's probably where I'd be putting my take profit. And I'd probably try to match that with a Fibonacci if I can, based off of a resistance one, right? We'll see what it comes up with. Arguably, I could do it right now. 41. Actually, no, I think that would be too far. It's hard to do this. Okay, so we have a top there, right? This is the downtrend that we do have to break out of. So this is the valid Fibonacci that we have on it. Oh, on a daily chart, we actually have more information. Right. 54, that's too high. This extended version of it, it's too far up. See, I'd probably consider something like around, yeah, 48, maybe around there. We'll see though. We're not there yet, so we're still too early to speculate. Did I just move? Never mind. Okay. Yeah, it's locked in place. Good. We'll see. Resistance for now on Sonic, if you care, 29.84. That's basically 30 cents. So watch out for that. Anything special? Not really. I'm noticing Sui and Aptos both kind of competing to rise the most. It seems like Aptos is rising more than Sui, and I have more money in Sui than I do have in Aptos. Both are great prices that I purchased at. So it seems like Aptos is completely outperforming Sui. What are we at? Blowing out of every resistance. Doesn't care that it's overbought. We broke past $5 immediately, and we headed up to our next resistance. 528. 530, I would argue. 530 is our resistance for it. We're at 516 right now. Aptos is killing it. This is a great play right over here. My entry was 428. We're already almost $1 or above that. Hello, Jesus Barake. How do I see Aster? Aster is fine. I'm hearing a lot about it, and I do have some news about it that we'll be discussing later today. It's really volatile, so I'll give you that. I would be very careful with using leverage on it. I have been like trying to see if I was able to enter it. I did see Aster when it first came out over here at 80 cents. It was like over here, and I'm like, oh, it's risen so much already. I'll wait for a drop. And it just kept on rising. So lots of people, I remember even trying to short this project because they were hyperliquid maxis, right? They wanted hyperliquid to stay on top as the more important decentralized exchange. Aster is the competitor to that, right? So you know, there was the hype around it. There was the hype around CZ with Binance, from Binance, sorry, promoting the project and everything. But I've done my research. I've seen the two compared, and I think that Hyperliquid still is a better play than Aster. You can go into Aster. It will perform well. It is actually good decentralized exchange. Maybe some bugs here and there. I've tried looking at the interface myself, but overall, for the long run, I still think that Hyperliquid will be the winner between the two. That is why I have a position open in Hyperliquid. If you're looking for short-term performance, sure, you can do Aster. That's good. But for long-term, I would stick with Hyperliquid, and that's the kind of play that I'm doing here. That's my thoughts on it. So for now, I don't plan on entering it, but I'm hearing always a lot about it. I know it's a good project. You know, it's not a meme project. You know, it's actually meant to perform well for the foreseeable future and possibly even outperform Hyperliquid in lots of metrics. But for the long term, yeah, I think Hyperliquid's better, just in my opinion. Now that we're on Hyperliquid, I'll also just go ahead and talk about it. I already explained this beautiful trade I made over here. We're met with a resistance at 50. We just hit a high of 51 right now. I didn't check the prices of Aster, my bad. Let me see where we're at with it. I just talked about what my thoughts are on it. Hey, yeah, 10% up. Yeah, like I said, really volatile. It seems like this is not a big movement, but it actually is, right? So it's still got a lower market cap. That's why I'm saying, like, short term, yeah, it can outperform at Hyperliquid because of the potential that it has to continue rising. But I'd also be worried. There are token unlocks coming out soon. It's going to add a lot of inflationary pressure. It's coming out on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. So you still got some time. Ride the wave if you want. It will be performing well. But be cautious long term, really. 181 is the current price. We're met with a resistance at 184, clearly right there. And then next resistance, I mean, you're looking at basically what the all-time high was, 241, 245, etc. Supports or possible entries, I'd be looking at... What would I even be looking at? The way I look at it is like retracements, right? And base it off of Fibonacci sequences. That would have been a good entry, I guess. But it wasn't necessarily oversold at that time. If I was like ignoring the project and just going based off of price action, I would have probably looked for an entry around... Can I get my brush? Maybe where this super trend line is, or maybe averaging out these two lines over here, which would have been about 125. But obviously that wasn't hit yet. If we do see a retracement, we might see, you know, RSI become oversold like that if price is able to dip something like this and then continue forward. But at these prices, I'm not sure. Not at this moment. I don't think we're going to see that. It's basically my thoughts on it. Because markets are doing well. There's no real reason for us to be dropping. It's bottom line. All right. Ethereum on the rise as well. Good stuff. 4,472. We hit a high of 4,518. We do have a resistance at 4,523, so makes sense for us to see a slowdown there. Uptrend is really strong. That's good. I'm in a good profit as well. Here's another issue. I don't know where to take profits on Ethereum. If it were up to me, I'd just close the position right now because I dislike it. But the entry is just so good at this point that I'm just like, I'll just ride the hype with it. If people are bullish on Ethereum and it'll keep rising, so be it. It's too early, honestly, in my opinion, to sell. But looking at the 4-hour chart, everything is overbought. So do not be surprised if maybe it starts tomorrow, but I doubt it. I would say over the weekend we'll see a bit of a slowdown or even a reduction in not just Ethereum, but a lot of prices. at least toward their uptrend. We do need a correction because this week has just been really positive. There's a couple of things that can push prices down, but for the weekend, I would say. I guess like the end of the government shutdown, they're expecting it to last like 3 days. I heard some analysts talk about. Maybe it lasts for longer. If it does, I guess that would be good because we don't hear about the economic data and we just assume that it's all bad, and you know, we foresee better chances of more rate cuts. But I don't think it's going to last for long. They might come to a resolution in that sense. The Hamas-Israel deal, I'm hearing word that Hamas might even reject it, and that would just lead to even more war, and that is not good. So that might be another thing that could crash prices over the weekend, and just like the low volatility in general. Not everybody's buying necessarily. Prices will decay, so that's just something natural that happens over the weekend. So that's my thoughts on all that. Stellar Lumen on the rise, hitting a high of 41. I think we had our target there at some point. We should have. Current price is at 40, making good profit on it, better than Ethereum. I like this shoot up in price, but we're kind of coming down on the RSI already after being overbought for a while. My take profit is all the way up there at 49. Is that reasonable even at these prices? I mean, at this point, probably. I'll leave my take profit for that there. I don't think I'll be adjusting much. I wanted to also check how SUI is doing. We already had a look at Aptos. It's outperforming SUI clearly. I'll admit it, SUI is kind of underperforming at the current moment, but that's a good thing because we know that it catches up later on. We're seeing Bitcoin make its first move, right? This is just part of how it all works. Bitcoin will hit an all-time high. Ethereum will start climbing up again. It will hit its 5,000 all-time high. Then it's Solana's turn. Maybe we even see it at 300. And then consecutively after that, alt season will really carry on. We're going to see SUI above $6. We're going to see Aptos at maybe $8. Yeah. Yes, I do go live every day, Jesus. That is right. I try to. Usually on Tuesdays I don't because I have a commitment, so I'm basically unable to stream at that time. But every other day I do try to stream at around this time, 9 o'clock my Eastern Standard Time, where I'm at. And maybe on weekends I probably can't if like I have people over or whatever the case is, right? But yeah, most days I am going live every day. And I plan to do so until I get I don't know, maybe a job that'll just replace this, but I don't think, like, come on, this could easily replace my job. My job is just to study the markets and go live and talk about it. I like going live as well because it forces me to look at the news, stay on top of everything, right? If I wasn't going live every day, I'd probably just like invest whatever, not care about what projects I was going into, and then just leave it there and probably lose all my money. But rather, you know, going live helps me because I'm like, okay, I got to know about this subject if I'm going to be talking about it tonight. And that makes me look into everything a bit more. And it broadens my knowledge, and I like that, so it's good. But yeah, anyway, SUI starting off late, but it's gonna catch up really good. We're gonna see it start making big moves soon. Cardano is also really slow, and I don't think this is gonna catch up as fast, right? There's just so many other better options. Sure, Cardano is good. It's an OG play, but if you're expecting it to go to the 2021 highs, I don't think that is very likely to happen. It's going to be hard. It can happen, but I wouldn't put my bets on it. So that's why I don't have a big exposition into Cardano. I just have it there for the exposition to it, because sometimes you never know. One day we had Cardano pump 70% in one day. So you got to have some exposition into a bit of everything, you know? Not everything, but you know, the stuff that you do care about the most and you know that have a lot of good potential. So that's my thoughts on that. Chainlink. No, not a lot of movement here either. I guess it's the fact that we're not getting any economic data because of the government shutdown. It's like, okay, what's the point of Chainlink? It's not like Chainlink is only used for that. Chainlink is used for so much more, but that was a huge part of its rally, its recent rally that it had when it pumped up all the way up here to 27, was because of the fact that the United States government started using Chainlink and Pyth to release economic data on the blockchain, which was huge, big for adoption. So it made sense at that time. At this time, with this government shutdown, there's really no point. I guess that's what most people are seeing, but I still believe in Chainlink because it is genuinely a good project, and we know that this shutdown is just temporary. A lot of traders are pricing in the fact that, oh, this is a nothing burger. We don't care about Medicare or whatever they're arguing about, right? If they were arguing about like the debt ceiling or I don't know, literally anything else, I think they would be more impactful on the markets. Last time this happened, the government shutdown, was about the border wall in 2018, which I checked also with analysts. By the end of it, the markets were up like 10% after it all. But it was the longest lasting one for 35 days. But again, that's like a non-issue related to everything else, right? The stock markets or crypto. At that time, crypto wasn't that popular, but you got the point. So yeah, I don't think it will see a big impact on the price due to the government shutdown. Rather, it's been benefiting us, right? And I've explained why with the jobs report and stuff like that, the rate cut probabilities rising up again. World Liberty Finance is, okay, it's slowly coming back up again. I was worried we were up here at one point and I was in a good profit. I was wondering where to take some profit. I put the target up here. Then it dropped, went against me. We were red for a bit, but now we're kind of on the way back up with like the general market sentiment back on our side. It's good to see it start climbing back up. And now, of course, super trend has dropped over here. I would be more inclined to drop my take profit to basically around 22 maybe. Practically the high that we just reached before. I was better off taking profits here, probably re-entering here, but hey, I'm not a wizard. I don't know where price exactly will rise or drop. My meme coin plays, the big cap ones at least. Pengu performing well so far, slowing down a little bit. And Pepe also one of my favorites, making me 200 right now. Uptrends for everything. That's the good stuff. What is in the red still? Hedera. We have an uptrend for it nonetheless. This is just red for me because I was DCAing a little bit too high. Areas that arguably I should not have been entering. Like here, why would I enter here? We were not oversold, right? Over here, we were oversold, and that's where I started entering, although I think they were still a little bit high. Or the volumes weren't evenly spread out properly, so I should have entered down here a bit more. You know, I messed up a little bit on Hedera, I'll admit it. Same thing with Polkadot, BitTensor, but they're in the green, which I'm fine with, right? But same idea, right? I'm entering where I should not be. So that's why you got to pay attention to, you know, always just follow your strategy. And BitTensor, let me have a look. Yeah, we're just barely in the green with this one. But yeah, I've been entering since up here where I should not be entering. You should only be entering when RSI is oversold. Better chances of reversals, right? And if it continues going against you, just DCA a bit more. That's kind of the strategy that I've been doing. It drops your average price. It makes it more, it gives it more weight, right? In terms of the volume, the amount of money that you're putting in, so that when eventually it starts rising, you start rising with a lot more. And that's how you make the profits, in my opinion. Aave, I've done more research on it. Genuinely still a good project, but it's just slow start. And same thing with Athena. Good project, but slow start. Still kind of in the red for me, but we have seen a bit of green recently. This has to be replaced. We're looking for resistances on this. What do we see? Downtrend is broken. Uptrend is there. What do we got? 66 as a resistance. We're at 62 right now. We hit a high of 65.39. Yeah, basically around that area. And then after that, we got 70 for Athena. By then, I'd be very much in the green, so I'll have to look for targets on all of these as well. I'll do that on my spare time, not on here, because it's going to take a lot of calculations and it might be boring. Research coin, the last coin I'll just have a look at here. some dumb little project I thought might do good because it just came out. Because I saw what happened with Aster. I saw what happened with Aster as soon as it came out. I was like, oh, it's too many green candles. I'll just wait for a couple red candles, and it kept on rising. For Aster as soon as I saw it come out on this exchange. So I thought the same thing for this one with Research Coin. I've heard of it before. I'm like, you know what? I'll drop something a little bit. It wasn't a lot, $100 I think. I'm getting killed by the fees though. That's crazy. It went against me completely. I've not seen the letters green at all since this project, since this position was open on this project. But it looks like, we got a trend reversal here as well. Uptrend is there. So we might start seeing a little bit of green soon. This is something I'll immediately get out of once I see a sizable amount, maybe $50. I don't know. Because it's not a lot I don't have put in. You could argue, hey, if you know that price is going to go up, why don't you add more? Because it's only $100. What are you, broke? And I'd respond with, I don't know too much about the project, actually. I'd have to do more research on it. I keep saying that, but yeah, I'll have to do more research on Research Coin before I start putting in a larger sum of money. But for now, it's like, I know it's going to rise up. I know I'm not going to make a lot of money off of it, and whatever, I'll exit the position and pretend I never got into it in the first place. It's kind of my mentality going into that. Yeah, that is basically all. Just another honorable mention, Compound also starting up with its uptrend over here. I have to change this out. We have officially bottomed out at 39. Current price is 43. Resistance at 44. We hit a high of, that 44.64. What other resistance? Yeah, 44.63 literally there. 44.64 was our high today. After that, we hit 46, and then this local high at 48. We can go much higher though for Compound. Where do I have my take profit? Probably something wild. 84. Yeah, that is pretty wild. That's if, like, this is a low cap one. Or not a big cap, I would say. It's not necessarily low cap, but given that it's not a big cap, it has a lot of potential of rising much bigger. And it's a decent project as well. I've looked into it. That is all. Moving on to our news. I mentioned this already, kind of the Hamas situation. We have a lot of countries, especially the Middle Eastern ones, such as Egypt. They're pushing Hamas to accept Trump's Gaza peace plan. He stressed Egypt will never allow the displacement of Gazans, warning displacement means the end of the Palestinian cause. We will not allow this under any circumstances. So you even have the backing of Egypt, like, guys, Hamas, please accept the terms that Israel has accepted and the United States has proposed so that we can end the conflict in the Middle East. But Hamas's military chief is kind of leaning towards rejecting Trump's ceasefire deal. So this is the Hamas's military commander in Gaza. He's thrown cold water on peace talks, allegedly, telling negotiators he wants the war to continue, basically. So be it if you want. We see all these decapitation strikes. They're pretty accurate, except for the ones that happened in Qatar. Those ones failed. But Israel is usually pretty good when it comes to, taking out senior Hamas leaders. We took out, what was his name? Sinwar? They took out, basically everyone. Then there's this guy here. Ez al-Din al-Haddad. He's one of the people who orchestrated the October 7 attack. He warned that Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan, all those 20 points that we read on stream one time, it's nothing more than a trap to dismantle Hamas. Well, I would say to that, yeah, it is something to dismantle Hamas. That's basically what it said there is a plan to, like, disband Hamas. You guys are not allowed to have any influence over the Gaza Authority, right? We're going to put our own businessmen there. We're going to rebuild Gaza and make it like we showed with the AI videos. Buildings dipped in gold and beautiful beaches and nice sunny weather, that kind of stuff. But, and they'll help clean out the rubble. But no, apparently they don't see it that way. While some political leaders in Qatar are open to tweaks that could keep talks alive, al-Haddad holds the leverage with, the 48 hostages that are still not released. Trump gave Hamas until the weekend to respond. So there we go. That's the deadline. It's the weekend. Warning that rejecting the deal will mean a very sad end. Of course, we know the consequences of them not accepting is full support from the United States to Israel to continue this war and end it by force in not a good way, right? So it's really up to these guys by the weekend. That's an important time frame date, right? That's 2 days from now, 3 days. If these guys do indeed reject the deal, it's not going to be good for the markets, and that might just be a local top. I'm not saying that October is over. This will eventually all pass on by as time continues. Time heals everything, and we will continue rising because the money printer, it's inevitable, and I'll talk about that soon. But we've got a lot of stuff that's quantitative easing basically for this final quarter of the year. It's gonna happen. So war or not, we're gonna see prices of cryptocurrencies rise. But if they do accept it, then that's even better. We'll just rise even harder, I guess. It's all part of the October deal. We'll see. So far, with this whole government shutdown stuff, 1,500,000 U.S. government employees have been furloughed since yesterday's shutdown. That means like suspended. I had to look up that term. I never saw it before, but yeah, from October 1st to October 2nd, in one day, we basically doubled the 750,000, right? Lots of government employees without work. But I still heard that they're going to keep on doing construction for the ballroom in the White House or something like that. So clearly that's not suspended. It's like, okay. And what about the economic data? Well, yeah, the people who work on the economic data, they're not going to be working during the government shutdown. So there you go. No NFP data tomorrow. This is interesting. Now, basically, I'll just moving on to crypto. I've got a lot of crypto news to talk about. World Liberty Financial's co-founder, Zach Witkoff, he's planning on tokenizing the Trump family's real estate portfolio, which includes the Trump Tower in Dubai, to widen access to investors. So Trump family has a real estate portfolio, and he's going to tokenize that so that we can invest into it. If you want to invest in Trump's real estate, you can probably do that soon. Tokenized, all onto the blockchain. Perfect for the adoption of this technology, and I'm all here for it. This is pretty big. President Trump is considering sending U.S. taxpayers up to $2,000 stimulus checks using the tariff revenue. So this tells us two things. One, that tariffs are working and it will make us richer, and well, the Americans, not us, but yeah, will make the American country much richer. And, it opens the door to a lot of possibilities, such as abolishing income tax or providing stimulus like this. And the second thing is that, yeah, quantitative easing, stimulus, you're giving everybody money to boost the economy. What are people going to do with that money? Some of them will probably buy crypto, and there's 300 million Americans. Well, I don't know if all of them are taxpayers, but surely they must be. That's including children and other people. I don't even know. You get the point. There's a lot of money that's coming in. Money supply increases. It eventually flows into assets like cryptocurrencies. So that's good overall. This is also interesting. U.S. Treasury exempts Bitcoin and crypto from the 15% corporate minimum tax. So corporations have a tax of 15% that they have to pay, but if they use Bitcoin and crypto and they make gains off of that, is what I'm assuming, then they don't have to pay taxes on that. That's a step in the right direction. It will eventually mean no capital gains tax for individual people in the future, though. And that also it's kind of related to the whole tariff thing. If tariffs are actually making the country much richer, then it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, you know what? We don't even need tax We don't need we don't even need to tax the people anymore. I just hope they go down the route of, actually I don't even know which would be better. Would you rather no income tax or no capital gains tax? That's a question for the big guys. I don't know. Me, just because I don't earn income, really, I would go with the no capital gains tax. And I mean, you would make more money on capital gains than you would with your income on most cases, right? Like if you work a normal job, but then you make money from selling a house or something, that's capital gains rather than income tax that you earn from your employment. That's a significant difference. You're obviously going to make more with the house, although not as frequently. But then when it comes to, I don't know, maybe a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, whatever, people that actually make a lot of income, probably the income would benefit them rather than the capital gains tax. Or maybe even the capital gains tax would still be beneficial. I don't know. This is me just thinking in the back of my mind. What we do know is the rich get richer. Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder, the face of Bitcoin, the face without a face. His net worth has climbed back above $130 billion, never selling his Bitcoins, still holding just above 1 million Bitcoins out of the 21 million that will ever exist. And I've talked about this before, just yesterday, I think. The fact that Michael Saylor is just making billions as well with these significant rises in Bitcoins and Bitcoin's price. We're basically seeing every $1,700 that Bitcoin moves up in price, MicroStrategy actually gains $1 billion in unrealized gains. That is the amount of Bitcoin that this guy has. 600,000 Bitcoins. Just like shy of half of what Satoshi himself has. So seems like it's the right move. Only Bitcoin can do this. Pay you $1 billion in basically one day. Every 1,700 that it moves in price. Like, come on. That is a lot. So you're telling me, I'm going to do some math here. How much money is this? From 110 to 120,000? I don't even know how to do this math, but I'll try. That's 10,000 difference, right? If you're every 1,700 you make 1 billion, that means he's made almost $6 billion in just this past week. $6 billion in 1 week. Hey, that's a pretty good return, if I do say so myself. We even have banks turning bullish on Bitcoin. Citibank, big bank in the United States, they're saying that Bitcoin could reach 181,000 within the next 12 months. I think, you know what? Sure. 12 months is a safe bet. That's 1 year. That's a big time frame for a price target of 181. You're going to notice a lot of other people are tightening their targets. They're even saying that this 180,000 on Bitcoin can be hit even by the end of this year. That's the kind of stuff that makes me not even want to sell. It's like, okay, if we're going to continue rising, then so be it. I'm just going to keep my target for now at 135,000. I'm not touching it until there. But believe me, I'm really tempted right now to just be like, 8,700, yoink. Well, minus 1,200 in commission and fees. So that would be 7,500 really. Sucks, but hey, what else gives you 7,500 in... How long have I had this open? Will it tell me? It doesn't tell me. I'm sure it's been like a month or two. Probably not even 2 months. That's pretty good. So yeah. Because it's... For Bitcoin specifically, it's like even if I do sell here, there will always be corrections. There has to, right? And when there is corrections, because it's Bitcoin, I'm not scared to drop like $10,000 on one trigger order, right? On a limit order. Because it's Bitcoin. It has no roof. It is meant to go up forever. Even if it continues going against you, that's even better. You just drop even more and more into it. And if it just goes completely against me, I'm taking out any money that I can and buying it because it's Bitcoin, right? Nothing can stop it. Absolutely nothing. So I'm not talking about making lots of money from today until tomorrow. It is obviously going to take its time, right? We see drawdowns that last for weeks, right? Sometimes even months. We know about the bear cycle period. That is coming up soon. I might just, the way I'm seeing this is I'll probably take some profits. I'll take my profit where my target is for now. I'm sticking to this plan, 135,000. Waiting for a good drop where I think I'd be like, yeah, I could afford one whole Bitcoin on spot. I'll buy that Bitcoin and never sell that. That's for my retirement. That's it. If Bitcoin ever hits 1 million, cool. I'll be a millionaire guaranteed. And whatever money is remaining, I'll just fool around with it. I'll trade with it and, I don't know, go stupid on leverage and hope to make even more. I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a competition for myself. You know how people like traders, right? They will do trading and their mission is to try to outperform something like the S&P 500. Because the purpose of the S&P 500 is, if you don't know anything about investing, just dump all your retirement savings in there and it's going to go up because it's the S&P 500 and it always goes up, right? That's the kind of mentality. So people are like, yeah, but I don't like the returns. Sometimes it's a negative return. Sometimes the return is not enough, like a 10% annual return on average. Do I really want to invest in that? I think I could make more than that if I was to actively trade and I myself pick out the better stocks or whatever you're trading. And that's what people use as a what do you call it? As like their goal is to beat the S&P 500. Now, in my case, I'm going to do something similar, but with crypto. I'm going to be trading crypto and try to outperform Bitcoin, and I'll see how that goes, right? Instead of the S&P 500, because, I mean, we know that Bitcoin will outperform. It outperformed to literally every asset. Every asset that is not a meme coin. So, yeah. That's what I think about it. We're also seeing more bullish stuff. Stablecoin market cap still hitting new all-time highs. It just won't stop. Once all this money, this is $311 billion in all the stablecoins, I guess, right? This is money just waiting to go into any other altcoin, cryptocurrency, whatever. You look at something like, let me just scroll down a little bit over here. Ondo, okay. $2 billion market cap, $3 billion, let's just say. What? There's 300 billion waiting in stable coins. If just 3 billion of that 300 billion goes in here, that's going to double the price. Double the price, 2x this asset right over here. Literally any one of these, right? Lower market cap tokens. Not saying it will, not saying Ondo specifically will do that, but I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of stablecoin money, and you're going to have to buy something with it eventually. What are you going to hold, $1 forever? I'm just saying. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that, and what else was I going to say? Never mind, I forgot. Whatever. And even more just keeps getting minted. 2 billion USDT just minted on Ethereum yesterday. So that's just more money waiting to pour into the markets. This one's interesting. CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, are planning to launch 24/7 crypto trading in 2026. You know what that means? No more CME gaps. What is wrong with my mouse? I'm trying to click and sometimes the click is not registering. Whatever. This right over here with the whole gaps thing. If it's 24/7, the gaps will not exist anymore and we won't have to worry about filling CME gaps, which, yeah, by the way, we do have a CME gap that is open at 109 to 111,000. People always say like, oh, we have to go and fill the CME gaps before we start rising further higher. To that I say, doesn't look like that's going to happen, but anything's possible. We've been at these prices before, and we've been at these prices right after, so it's possible. But I don't think CME gaps always get filled, but hey, if you're tired of hearing about that excuse, seems like 2026, that will no longer be an issue. Good stuff. All right, now it comes to the DEX war. Get ready. There's a bit going on over here. The total perpetual DEX trading volume has surpassed $1 trillion in a single month for the first time. So these are decentralized exchanges we're talking about. This is driven by the intensifying competition among platforms, and those platforms are Aster, Hyperliquid, and more. I'll try to name the relevant ones off the top of my head. Apex, Sun, Bluefin, Avantis. That's all I could remember. But yeah, it's true. It's happening. Here's some information from Aster rolling out an update on how the open interest is displayed. So it will be shown on a bilateral basis, so double-sided. Open interest meaning the amount of leverage that is open. They're trying to be more transparent with the platform. Sure, that's fine. Makes sense. Live today provides more transparent, accurate view of market positions. What they mean by double-sided is the amount of leverage that is being used in long positions and the amount of leverage being used in short positions. You can now see that information on Aster. Good. For Hyperliquid, well, not necessarily Hyperliquid, in the last 24 hours, Aster's perpetual trading volume has surpassed $63 billion, which is like 8 times more than what Hyperliquid trading volume is. That's why Aster, at the current moment, is outperforming and will outperform Hyperliquid in the short term. Because this is all just hype of something that is happening recently. Everybody wants to get in on the hottest new gem, the new crypto project, and it seems like Aster is that. But I feel like there's not much else other than the hype that CZ is promoting it a lot, and then what? Gets listed on Binance. That's another thing that a lot of people are expecting for Aster. That's probably another bullish catalyst. But by when? We're going to have token unlocks coming out for it soon. There's these promises of, I think it's like half of the supply will be given out in airdrops. That's a lot of extra supply that will be flooding into the markets, which will inflate it, increase the supply, decrease. I don't know if the demand is going to be there to keep up with it, is basically what I'm trying to get at. In contrast, Hyperliquid's open interest has climbed to almost 13 billion, which, well, that is more than 8 times of Aster. So it seems like what this means, open interest climbing to 13 billion, that's a lot of whale activity, or just over leveraged people, could be, but I feel like it's more whales with high leverage, using Hyperliquid rather than Aster. Meanwhile, the trading volume, it's higher than Hyperliquid, meaning that it's more popular because there's a lot more people using it. That's the difference between the two. Seems like more retail investors using Aster, and Hyperliquid is more for like the big whales that we see. CZ was talking in, it seems like an X Spaces over here. He mentions that he's not allowed to run Binance anymore because of his agreement with the US government. That's why he had to go to prison for all that stuff, money laundering, the number 4, you get it. Then CZ goes into detail and says, he said this forces me to look elsewhere. What's more exciting than DeFi? I think DeFi will be bigger than CeFi. So decentralized finance will be bigger than centralized finance. So that's him saying, you know what, Binance is good and all. I made it what it is today, but it's time to move on from Binance. I'm going to move from something centralized to something decentralized. And that is where Aster comes into play, right? So now I'm forced to work on the future, and he thinks the future is going to be with decentralized finance. He has been promoting Aster. He's posted the charts of Aster. He doesn't post every chart ever, so, you know, him promoting Aster like this, it's something significant. So yeah, Aster coded, hard to fade Aster after hearing this. A lot of people bullish on Aster for stuff like this, and that's where the skepticism comes from me, because it's all just like, okay, you're thinking that this is going to go up because CZ says so. I keep calling him Binance. I don't know why. There's posts like this coming out. October begins tonight for Aster. I'm hearing things, is what he says. CZ likes the post of I'm hearing things. What does that allude to? Maybe the Binance listing is what other people are hopeful for, as I mentioned. So seems to be that is all the hopium. CZ, of course, we know is the crypto advisor to many nations. I'm pretty sure it's Pakistan and also Kazakhstan. The National Crypto Reserve, Alam Crypto Fund, buys Binance coin for long-term holding. So with Pakistan, I think it's with they're doing the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, and so is Philippines, I think. And Kazakhstan is actually buying Binance coins as their strategic reserve or some sort. Or it seems to just be a crypto fund. It could be either or. I don't think it's actually the... No, it's the actual National Crypto Reserve. Never mind. And here's a photo that CZ has posted and says he's honored to meet with President Kasim Jomart Tokayev. Again, 3 years later. Is this actually 3 years ago? That was not 3 years ago. Oh, but the photo is from 2022. Okay, I get it. It's a new photo. Same people. Lots of progress has been made in Astana, Kazakhstan. Okay, keep in mind this name. Astana. He's saying Binance licensed, stablecoin KZTX stablecoin. Okay. Crypto reserve includes Binance coin and much more. And a great city name too. The city name is Astana, which kind of sounds like Aster. So there you go. You know, it's those small things that CZ is doing to like try to promote Aster as much as possible. So there you go. And again, manipulating the Google search results as well. When you talk about Hyperliquid, Binance already has an article on why Hyperliquid is the end of centralized exchanges. No, wait. How is this? Okay. The end of all centralized exchanges. So Binance was indirectly promoting Hyperliquid at one point, but now they're completely doing a 180 on that because I'm referring to another post that I shared a couple days ago, where if you look up Hyperliquid, the first thing that comes up is Binance's website, or I think it's something about them promoting Aster instead of Hyperliquid. They don't want their competitors to win, clearly. So they're doing their best. Here's the big issue. Aster unlocks 700 million tokens on October 17. The circulating supply will jump from 5% to 13.8% overnight. That's a lot of bearish pressure. $1 billion worth of money will be flooding into the markets at current prices. The users are already hitting withdrawal limits. That's another issue. You have withdrawal limits. Trying to get $63,000 out. The team controls 95% of the supply. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but you know, the whole token unlock is a whole separate issue. When the holders can't exit before the unlock and insiders control everything else, you know exactly what happens next. That's another thing is what people are pointing out is like, okay, you have a withdrawal limit. You're not allowed to withdraw all your Aster tokens. First, I'm sure that's to protect huge price declines, right, from everybody trying to sell at once. But the fact that the insiders control everything else, it's so that they can get out before you is kind of what it seems like they're alluding to in this case. So, yeah. That's why, for now, me personally, I was like, from the beginning, I'm like, I'm just gonna stay out of Aster. It seems like, yeah, I might have missed the DEX hype, no pun intended. Everything was going up. Every DEX. Sun was doing extraordinarily well. That's the Tron's perpetual DEX, right? We had Bluefin doing okay, but I can't trade it on this platform anyway. We had Avantis doing really well. That I was more willing to invest in. It belongs to Base. Bluefin was from Sui, by the way. Apex, backed by Bybit, I'm pretty sure. Aster, backed by Binance, and then Hyperliquid is just the better one of them all, so that's the one I decided to enter into out of all of those. I have some ChatGPT stuff to talk about here. They're moving away from Reddit as a source, which I think is overall a good thing because I'm not sure if you could really trust Reddit for everything. It is helpful for very specific scenarios, right? But a lot of them are just meme scenarios. I'm sure you guys have seen like those. Sometimes, I don't know, they'll talk about you looking up something on Google, it usually happens with Gemini's AI, Google AI, where if you look up a question, you'll get like a completely irrelevant or a joke answer, and it's because they pulled that answer from Reddit from another person who had the same question as you, and the AI overview just takes that as an actual fact and provides it to you when you know it's clearly fake or a joke and not the answer to the question you were looking for. So yeah, OpenAI is taking the first step in that. They appear to be deprioritizing Reddit content as ChatGPT shifts towards more reliable, verifiable sources of information. It's literally this. Like, if you type in the word, I'm feeling depressed, you get Gemini's reply like, there are many things you can do to try to deal with your depression. One Reddit user suggests jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like, okay, that does not help your depression at all. Or maybe it does, it just ends it all. But no, not really. That's all a joke, right? And so that's the issue that we had with taking Reddit as a source. By the end of 2025, it seems like Polymarket, by the way, just on a side note, thinks that Google will be outperforming OpenAI as the best AI model by 2025. I don't know if I believe that. I'm more of a Grok X AI supremacist when it comes to this stuff. Anyways, don't confess everything you have to ChatGPT because this kind of stuff can happen. Missouri teen got arrested for felony vandalism after confessing all his crimes to ChatGPT. It's not safe. And even Sam Altman has come out to say, like, hey, don't share too much personal information with OpenAI because it can be used against you in court or something like that. Some people say, oh, they're controlling everything. The AI knows everything about us by now. It's all this huge conspiracy for control or whatever. Others say that no, it's misleading, such as this. The kid simply wrote it all out to ChatGPT, and the authorities read the messages once they had access to the phone. So it's not like ChatGPT snaked on the kid on his crimes. Rather, it's the kid got captured for his crimes, and then they went through his phone and saw his ChatGPT logs talking about the crimes. It's not the same as ChatGPT somehow leaking it a private conversation. So yeah, either way, I'd still stay away from disclosing too much personal stuff to an AI. Just stick with using it as a tool. Like, hey, don't say I'm buying 20 Bitcoins at this price. How do I avoid taxes? No, it'd just be like, hey, if I was to buy an asset that costs this much and I'm holding it for, I don't know, I'm not giving you tax evasion lessons, but you know, you get the point. It's a joke, by the way. I don't do tax evasion. I pay all my taxes. I promise. All right. That is all the news I have for today. Great. 57-minute stream. Bitcoin is chilling at 120,000. Can't blame it. Seems like we make a huge rise. We relax by the time I'm live. And then we keep on rising during overnight and during the morning. And then when I go live, we kind of relax. And the same thing again happens over here. We're relaxing at the moment. Tomorrow might be the day, guys. For all-time high, 124,000 plus. I don't see anything that could stop it from rising, really. Give me one good reason why Bitcoin, specifically for tomorrow, should not rise. I mean, maybe we do actually get the economic data. Oh, look at that. They actually deleted it here. Unless my website is glitched. No, they actually deleted it. That's crazy. Like, usually this would tell you at, what is it, 8:30 a.m.? You would get the non-farm payroll data and unemployment rate. The time does not even show up for these. Okay, so... Okay, scenario 1. We don't get any economic data and we keep on rising tomorrow. Scenario number 2, government shutdown abruptly ends tonight. And things continue as normal. We get the non-farm payroll data, and it's actually good data, meaning that the labor market is strong, ironically, or against all odds, I should say. And that decreases the chances of rate cuts, and then we start crashing again. That's like, there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. Very, very improbable. So, like, that's not going to stand in our way. We don't have to worry about that. What does Fed Williams have to say at 6 a.m.? What are you doing? All right. But over the weekend, that's what I'd be a bit more concerned about. Low liquidity, Hamas accepting or rejecting the deal, or maybe even delaying the deal. It's going to cause uncertainty, and markets hate that. And something else I mentioned. Just general, like, technical analysis saying that everything is overbought at the moment and it's time for us to make some sort of a correction. Sure, I'll accept that, but maybe by the weekend, not by tomorrow. Tomorrow, we still got plenty of liquidity. There's no holidays tomorrow. No, there's not. So, yeah, really, no reason for us to be dropping tomorrow. I'm not guaranteeing, by the way, that we're hitting 124,000. I just see it very hard that we start crashing, because fundamentals are good. Fundamentals, like, they overwrite what technical analysis is meant to predict, right? Technical analysis right now would tell me that tomorrow we're crashing because we're so overbought. But fundamentally, like, okay, why are we crashing though? There's no real reason. So that's what I think about it. Yeah, that's my final thoughts on it all. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching tonight. It's looking good. That's all I'm really gonna say. Yeah, and I'll be live again tomorrow night. And we'll discuss any news that comes up by then. Yeah, until then, have a great rest of your evening. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And, of course, thank you always for the support.